All right, good morning, everyone. Go ahead and get started with Coach Traylor here. Greg.
Jeff, how you doing today?
I'm doing good, Greg. How are you, brother?
I'm doing all right. I'm doing all right. I just wanted to, I guess, get things started here. I'll ask you about the overall health of the team. We've talked about that kind of through the spring and just how they've held up, and how much have you been able to keep going with multiple units and kind of get those reps that you had hoped to?
Yeah, we got pretty beat up last week. Nothing major, but we had to come off the threes. We only were able to do ones and twos in the scrimmage. Today, we had some guys back up, so we were able to go ones, twos, and threes today. But we're pretty close. We're right on that edge, and so we weren't able to go Saturday, but we were today as far as threes.
One of the factors in that, I would think, is that group of incoming players, you know, a couple freshmen and a couple of transfers. How have those players looked to this point through spring workouts?
They've added, some depth, which has been huge, especially on our defensive side of the ball. We're way deeper on that side right now than we are on offense. Waiting on those 5 freshman offensive linemen to come in. That's going to really pick our O-line numbers back up. We're very thin at those spots. Thank goodness for super seniors and able to bring back, some players that kind of bought us a year to get that line room fixed as far as our numbers to have the ability to function in the spring and have depth all during the fall like you need to be successful, especially as much as we want to run the football, right? And that's hashtag 2-0 triangle of toughness. That's number 2 on the list. We want to be able to run the ball, and it starts with those big boys up front.
Is there anybody in particular from the group of newcomers you guys have in the fold now who has stood out or caught your eye, picked things up, particularly quickly?
Oh, man, it's a great question. I'd have to think through that pretty good. Obviously, linebacker depth is something we had to address. So the newer guys, it's been my younger guys that have been here. Avery Morris is coming on at linebacker, but he's been here. Noah and Caden are, they're catching up at linebacker, but both those kids have made plays for us. Clifford Chapman at safety, the more and more he's out there, the better he's looking. Trying to think of, we brought in 7 kids. I'm trying to think who else we brought in. They're all the same to me right now, right? I don't look at them as remind me, Greg, who else we brought in. I'll comment on them.
Well, there's like Ronald Triplett, Brandon Brown.
Yeah, Trip got injured. He's had to sit out here just recently. Brandon Brown's been fantastic. He is really going to be a really good nose guard. And Ronald Triplett looked really good before he got injured. So, yeah, that's helped us our depth in our D-line as well. And Malik at nickel has added some depth for us as well. So, yeah, we've been pleased with all those kids. I apologize. I didn't have all 7 of those right off the top of my head, but they're all they're all they've all been here so long now. There's like all my kids.
And Clifford Chapman as well.
Yeah, Cliff's done well. He's done well. He's long and learning the scheme, but he's played a lot of football. He's played in the SEC. He's played a lot. So we expect him to come in and be really good. So none of them do we feel like were mistakes for sure. But to have 7 kids on defense, that just helped us so much over there. We just needed moving Peter Gray to tight end. It really helped our depth at tight end as well. That's been a nice change up for us on our team. We just got to get more depth on the O-line. And we're running, I think 9 scholarship kids right now or 10. And that number's got to get way higher.
And you've mentioned that linebacker spot a few times. Do Caden Holt and Noah Mitchell kind of look like they're on track to be able to be guys you'd be comfortable using in the fall, guys who are ready to play some snaps in game situations? Yeah,
they're going to be fine. I mean, the spring is so hard because we're adding so much install that, our returning kids is nothing because that's the base defense plus a little bit more. But when you're new, you got to learn the base defense plus what we're adding. So, excuse me.
And we're getting set to talk to Jamal Ligon, one of the returning guys there. How has he sort of continued to progress through the spring, or what have you seen from him in this time?
Yeah, well, he was just so mature beyond his years when he got here. He has such high IQ. He's so physically tough, mentally tough. Came from a great program in East Texas. Y'all heard me rave about him enough, but he's just a grown man, and his body's starting to look like a college football player. Finally, he played with a high school body last year. He's got a grown man mind, but a high school body, and he's really looks really good. And if you had 22 of him, you'd never lose a ball game.
Okay, JJ.
Jeff, I wanted to circle back on Peter Gray. What was the reason you guys moved him to tight end?
Well, one, you know how much I love to use tight ends. So Leroy is a great tight end, but he's always had health concerns. Oscar is a good young tight end. Gavin's a good tight end, but there's always health issues with Gavin as well so far. Allen, had to have some surgery. Now Dan's really coming on, but I just feel like we need 6 good scholarship tight ends on our roster. We didn't identify one in the recruiting process that we thought were better than our players, so we didn't take one. So we were looking at tight ends in the portal, and I said, before I take one, I want to watch Peter Gray play tight end. I think that kid could be a tight end. And in my opinion, he's better than the guys who are in the portal. So why would I go chase a guy I don't know when I got a guy on my team I do know? And Ronald Triplett and Brandon Brown are really good players. So I picked up 2 players there on the D-line. So it's just, in my opinion, roster management, using all of our scholarships. Peter was very excited about the move, and he's done fantastic. So it's been a win-win for everybody.
You mentioned you scrimmaged on Saturday. What were some of your takeaways from that?
We always start with our defense. We were not near as physical as I wanted to be. We were disappointed in our physicality. I'll make a soft bed for them. I did go on a quick whistle. So I understand that might have slowed us down a little bit. But as far as the offensively, we had too many penalties in the scrimmage. We had 7 defensive penalties. We had officials there for the first time. Offensively, a couple of pre-snap penalties, but we were pretty clean. We moved the ball and ran the ball, threw the ball. Didn't throw the ball down the field very well, which was disappointing. Our perimeter blocking was fantastic. And special teams wise, we made all of our field goals and punted the ball very well and covered well. So when you're the head coach, there's always something wrong, right? And there's always something good, because if the offense does really good, then you're disappointed in your defense, but you're happy with your offense. So you're never happy when you're the head coach. Now the offensive side of the ball was pretty pleased. Defensive side of the ball was not very pleased. So I would imagine this Saturday be a pretty spirited scrimmage, and I bet our defense has a little extra juice this Saturday.
The program hasn't announced anything for a spring game. Do you guys know if you're going to have a spring game this year?
We are going to have one. The details I'm waiting on to hear from administration. I know Dr. Compost is having to work through quite a few scenarios just with COVID and restrictions, those kind of deals. But as soon as she knows, I'm sure she'll let me know and everybody else know. But yes, there will be a spring game.
Okay, Vinny.
Coach, you may have addressed this early on in spring on one of the Zoom calls that I wasn't a part of, and I apologize for that. But I just want to ask you, the whole super senior thing seems pretty darn amazing. I mean, getting a lot of hype, and you've spoken highly of it. Just how amazing in your mind are these super seniors that you have?
It's been a blessing, especially when you're a new coach taking over. We probably overachieved last year. There's some roster deficits that we got to get fixed. And by bringing those 12 back, we borrowed a year, right, to fix the roster in certain areas. And I don't want to make it sound like the roster was broken everywhere, because obviously it wasn't. there were a real few areas of need, like inside linebacker and offensive line play. That had to be really addressed. And by bringing back some players that allowed us to do that. Now, I was excited about our 12 super seniors till I watched Illinois spring game last night, where I saw they're bringing back 21 super seniors. And I'm like, Jiminy Cricket, that's 21 6-year Big Ten guys we're going to have to go against. So that didn't fire me very up much, Benny.
But so in its own way, it's a great thing, I guess, for every program, just on different numbers.
Yes, sir. Exactly right. There are some always unintended consequences, right? So now you're going to have 97 scholarship guys on the roster. So our number that Dr. Compost is going to allow us to carry next year is 110, where last year it was 115. So just using your common sense, if it was at 15, you were at 85. That means you had 30 walk-ons last year, correct? Well, now our number is going to be at 110, and we're going to have 97 scholarship guys. So you're only going to have 13 walk-ons, which means I want to have to cut 17 walk-ons. That's kids that have great grades, pay for their own school, come out here and bust their butt every day. And that's going to be a very difficult conversation for me with 17 kids that I love. I was a walk-on, right? So I have a special place in my heart for those kids, and I'm not looking forward to that. But yeah, there are many, many benefits, but that's one of the negatives of it, kind of an unintended consequence that nobody's really thinking about.
Thanks, sir.
Anything else for Coach? All right. Appreciate it.
Appreciate you guys, man. God bless. Birds up.
Thanks, Jeff. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, Coach.